The eyes of the Lord are in every place, keeping watch on the evil and the good.
Welcome back to the GBC Minicast. I'm Clay.
I'm Wesley.
I'm Danny.
And we are continuing our series on the omni attributes of God. We've talked about omnipotence, that God is all-powerful. Mm-hmm. We've talked about omnipresence, that God is everywhere. And today we are talking about omniscience. So if you're looking at this word on the title of your podcast, you might notice that part of the word looks a lot like the word for science or sentient. That root word basically means knowledge. Mm-hmm. Science is originally, that meant knowledge, and sentient means, you're alive and you have knowledge of things. Omni means all, and sentient or science means knowledge. So God knows everything. That's what omniscient means. Now, there's a million Bible verses that we could look at for omniscience. But one thing I think that would be good to focus on in this episode is God being omniscient should be a comfort to us, and he's like near to us. I'm going to read from Psalm 139, 1 through 6. The verse you heard in the opening was Proverbs 15:3. I'm about to read a few verses from Psalm 139. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from afar. You search out my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. You hem me in, behind and before, you lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high. I cannot attain it. God knows everything. He knows where we are. He knows where we stand, and he knows the conditions of our heart. He knows the thoughts, even before a word comes out of our mouth, he knows what it's going to be. Mm-hmm. I want to just kind of point out some different aspects, and feel free to jump in here if you have some thoughts, but of what God knows, right? Obviously, when we think about knowledge, what we tend to think of is facts, right? And what corresponds to reality. But we could also think about knowledge in terms of time, right? Like God knows all of the past. He also knows all of the future, right? He knows what will happen. He knows what could happen. Right? And so all of that goes into his knowledge. Would you say it's difficult to separate omniscience from omnipotence and omnipresence?
I think it's very difficult. The other two are almost a lot easier to classify separate from each other. But this one is almost implied by the fact that he has all power and the fact that he is everywhere all the time. It's like almost a result of that is he knows everything. But it's like you said, it's more than just a result of it. It's the fact that he knows everything intimately, not in a he's just observing everything and happens to be more intelligent than you, but in a way of like, because of what he knows, he also is the creator of everything.
He's in control of it.
Yeah, like the word foreknowledge in Scripture doesn't just say that he knew before things would happen. It implies he's making things to go in a particular direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And you hit on something very important there. It's not that God observes, right? God does not learn things, okay? That would be a concept called open theism, and that would be heretical, right?
Yeah.
That is not an omniscient God to say that we have a God who sits back and watches and learns things. God knows and knew everything from all of eternity past, right? And to me, when I think about this too, I think about the fact that it would really be impossible to have a being that was either omnipotent or omniscient. And of course, omnipresence goes in there too, but I'm just highlighting the two for this example. If he did not know everything that was going to happen, how could he really be powerful enough to be sovereign over it, right? Or if he was not omnipotent to have control over everything that happens, how could he really know for sure that it was going to happen? So omniscience and omnipotence and omnipresence, because God is everywhere, they all go hand in hand. They're all very important. Some other verses that we could look at for this are Jeremiah 1:5. It says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet to the nations." Right? So he's telling Jeremiah, that the purpose that you have this is not new to me. It might be new to you. You are finite. You're learning things in time and space, but not me. It's always been part of my plan.
And in context of Jeremiah, that's something that should be comforting to us as believers, because, Jeremiah is known as the weeping prophet, and one of the biggest things people will point out about the life of Jeremiah is that during his lifetime, basically nobody listened to him, and he was told beforehand. And so it is fascinating that his book starts off almost with God being like, yes, I know. This is the plan I have for you. Look to me, look at me, be obedient even when you don't see quote unquote good results, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, to wrap this up, because we want to try to keep these short, Wesley, give us those thoughts you were telling us before the mics came on about just kind of the weight of knowledge and how that can impact humans.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you mentioned how hard it is to be omnipotent without being omnipresent, or vice versa, because, like, look at the internet. We have this kind of fake omniscience where we know more than we should. We wake up every day and the first thing you do is you check your phone and you read about some horrible crime that happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And even though you're like 3,000 miles away, this thing is now affecting you for the rest of the day or whatever. Like, we're not made to absorb all of the knowledge of all of the world, and especially with algorithms and everything, the way things are filtered and like things are supposed to engage you. Like, it's not even a real any of the omnis. It just feels like we know too much, and we're constantly being swamped with knowledge, whether it's real or not. And
it's stressful.
It's stressful. Like, we can't handle that at all, and that's not at all what God's omniscience is. God is certain, he is settled, and he knows every situation you encounter. He is already there. He already knows what the result is going to be, and he orchestrated it in a way to bring it out. I know Psalm 34 verse 18 says, Yahweh is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Like, he knows when you feel forgotten or left out or anxious about stuff, right? And Psalm 139, this is kind of going to hit all three, but I'm going to read 13 through 16. For you formed my inward parts, you knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, my soul knows it very well. And 15 and 16 I wanted to focus on. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance, in your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there were none of them. God knows you. He knew you before you knew you, is a good way to put it.
Your eyes saw my unformed substance. That's a bar right there.
That's pretty awesome, isn't it? And that should be immensely comforting. Think about how much we struggle with just our little bit of extra knowledge we get from the internet every single day, and understand that God has all of that in a plan working together for his good and for the good of those who love him. And if you're a Christian, that's you.
Yep. So be comforted. Well, thank you guys for your time, and thank you all for listening. And so look out for the next minicast episode coming soon.